Now that the NFL draft is over, let's go over some fantasy targets that you can find for those players who were selected in the 4th round of the NFL draft. All right, the first guy we're going to talk about here is Roschon Johnson, and I really do believe, getting picked in the 4th round at 115 overall, that a lot of people are sleeping on him because all they know about is Bijan Robinson, and Roschon Johnson actually was the backup there. Let's go ahead and go over to the depth chart here for the Chicago Bears. Justin Fields coming to his own now, starting at the end of last season, now beginning as the main go-to guy this year and on top of fantasy radars. Deontay Foreman, they ended up getting over here in free agency, and Khalil Herbert did a fantastic job for David Montgomery last season. Now we have Roschon Johnson, who I believe he has a nice clear picture to eventually being the main go-to guy type of running back here. And let's go to the wide receivers real quick. DJ Moore, they ended up getting over in a trade, trading away that first overall pick to the Carolina Panthers. Chase Claypool, Darnell Mooney. They ended up drafting a rookie in Tyler Scott. We'll talk about him in a little bit later on in this video. And then Cole Kmet at tight end. So looking at Roschon Johnson, he was in a running back by committee. And when he touched the ball, he was good. He averaged over 5 yards per carry in college. He was very decisive in his running. He's got the size, he's got the speed to be a 3-down running back in this league. And I know a lot of people are not really looking at Roschon Johnson, but I'm telling you, he could be a steal for the draft if you want him to be. I mean, I think he's going to get the opportunity eventually. Now, Deontay Foreman and Khalil Herbert are both really good running backs, but they're not something that's going to say, hey, I'm keeping away a 4th round pick and Roschon Johnson away from us. So I do see Roschon Johnson eventually taking this job. Will it be this year? We have to wait and see. I think by the end of the year, Roschon Johnson will be the #1 running back for the Chicago Bears. And then starting next year, you're going to see Roschon Johnson atop of the depth chart. I can't wait to see what we have in store for Roschon Johnson. He's one of the most exciting players in the draft that I had going into the draft, and now seeing where his landing spot is with the Chicago Bears, I'm even more excited for this back. Keep him in the back of your mind when you're going through your drafts. I think he could be somebody you can draft, stash towards the end of your draft, and you never know, you could have a starting running back by playoff time. I can't wait to see what goes in that. Let's drop over to pick 125. The Chargers selected Darius Davis. Now this guy, he is really a burner. He ran a 4.3 in the combine, but he's a small, tiny guy. He's 5'8" wide receiver. I just don't know how he's going to play out as far as getting reps on the field. He's more of probably a kick and punt returner in my eyes. Let's go ahead and go over to the depth chart here. Starting at quarterback, Justin Herbert. He's obviously going to be the man. Austin Eckler, Joshua Kelly, Isaiah Spiller there at running back. Wide receivers, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and the highly touted Quentin Johnston. And I also have Joshua Palmer ahead of Darius Davis. Being at 5'8", you're not going to get plenty of targets. I mean, he may get a couple touches into the game, and when he touches the ball, he can take it to the house. The problem is that his size is just going to let him not be a viable fantasy option for your team. A little bit of bonus points if your league does offer kick return and punt return yardage. You might be able to see him catch 1, maybe 2 balls in a game and have maybe 30 or 40 kick and punt return yards. And, you know, he might be a flex option at best, in my opinion. Darius Davis, somebody I'm not excited about, not somebody that I would recommend you draft for your team. Going over to 127, the Saints end up taking Jake Haener. Now this is somebody that's more of a dynasty pick, not really a redraft league type of guy. He's not going to get an opportunity probably for the next 3 years, but he will be able to sit behind Derek Carr and learn how to be a pro, learn how to be a quarterback. Let's go ahead and go over to the depth chart here. Obviously Derek Carr and Jameis Winston I do have in front of Jake Haener. I think he'll be the 3rd quarterback after this season. It'll be Jameis Winston will be gone. Jake Haener should move up to the 2nd quarterback after this season. Alvin Kamara, Jamal Williams, Kendre Miller, Mike Thomas, Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, A.T. Perry, and Juwan Johnson at tight end. Jake Haener, somebody definitely if you are in a deep dynasty, maybe even a 2-quarterback super flex league. Jake Haener, somebody you might want to draft, put him on your bench, see if he can develop in the next 3 or 4 years. If you have a taxi squad, he'd be a good opportunity to put on a taxi squad. I do think that once he gets the opportunity at 6 foot, you know, he works through his progressions very nice. He has great anticipation where he's going to throw the ball. I do believe that he needs needs better ball placement. There's sometimes I see him throwing, maybe the ball's a little bit behind him, a little bit too high, things like that. He just needs to work on that, and I think that'll come definitely as he develops as a quarterback, learning behind Derek Carr, and whenever Drew Brees ends up popping into the facility, helping Jake Haener as well. Haener ended up growing up, he loved the Saints. The Saints was one of his favorite teams growing up, and now he gets to be drafted by his favorite team. So I'm pretty excited for him to have this opportunity to learn and develop with the New Orleans Saints, and hopefully one day, once Derek Carr's time is done with the Saints, Jake Haener can step in and we have a future quarterback for many, many years to come. So let's go and go over to the next pick at 128. We're going to talk about Stetson Bennett. He was a quarterback from Georgia. Really like this pick. He's 5'11". He's pretty much big game ready. You know, I mean, he's played in national championships. He's won multiple national championships. He needs to have a little bit better footwork. Sometimes I'm seeing him throw, he's just off pedal, or he just has his feet all over the place, but he's pretty accurate when he does throw. I think he can develop into a really good quarterback, somebody you could probably take over by next year. I think this may be Matthew Stafford's last year, and then you'll have Stetson Bennett take over. There's only a couple quarterbacks in the NFL who's won multiple national championships. We're talking about like Matt Leinart and Tim Tebow. A lot of these guys who hasn't really panned out in the NFL. So hopefully Stetson Bennett can break that kind of reality and kind of go off on his own and develop as a really good quarterback for the Rams. They really need it. He has that moxie, like that Baker Mayfield or Johnny Manziel type of moxie about him. But I'm hoping he can kind of keep it all under control, have the confidence, and learn, develop, and become a really good quarterback. So moving right along at pick 131, the Bengals ended up selecting wide receiver Charlie Jones. Charlie Jones is a 5'11" wide receiver. He's actually pretty good. He played for Purdue in college, and he was pretty productive. The one thing, if I have to say a knock about Charlie Jones, is when I was watching his film, he seemed to have trouble separating from man coverage, and I know he's going to see a lot of that in the NFL. So he needs to have a little bit better route running to just create some more separation. He's got the speed to do it. I think he just needs the technique, something he can probably learn as he continues to develop. Looking at the depth chart here, we're going through Joe Burrow and at quarterback, Joe Mixon, Chase Brown at running back, Travion Williams, and Chris Evans, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, and then I put Charlie Jones at 4th on the depth chart for the Cincinnati Bengals. I don't think he has an opportunity to get higher than that. Chase, Higgins, and Boyd are pretty cemented in there as the top 3 go-to guys for Joe Burrow. But Charlie Jones may be able to get in there once in a while, you might have one good game this coming up season. Somebody I definitely would not recommend you guys drafting this year. We have to wait and see if he can develop and to become a better wide receiver than at least Tyler Boyd, to be able to break that starting 3 in the lineup. So other than that, let's go over to the next guy at pick 133. The Chicago Bears selected Tyler Scott. Now, Scott's a 5'10" wide receiver. He's got absolutely blazing speed, 4.4 speed. He doesn't have the best footwork from what I can see, and I don't like the way he runs his routes. I don't know if it's that he is unsure of what route exactly he wants to go, or he's telegraphed in his routes too much. I don't think that he's going to amount to much unless he fixes his footwork. So looking at the depth chart yet again for the Bears, Justin Fields, like I was talking to, but that the wide receivers, DJ Moore, Chase Claypool, Darnell Mooney, Equanimeous St. Brown. I think those guys are clearly above Tyler Scott right now. I think he's going to be battling with Velus Jones Jr. For that 5th spot at the wide receiver. So somebody I don't see that's going to be progressing to amounting anything into fantasy football. More of just a camp fodder, kind of a filler type of guy. But he could prove me wrong. Like I said, he's got good speed, but at 5'10", you've got to be able to create separation, have crisp route running, and you've got to have better footwork, and that's just not what I'm seeing from Tyler Scott right now. The last guy on the list here in the 4th round at pick 135 was Aiden O'Connell, taken by the Raiders. He's a nice 6'3", prototypical looking type of quarterback. The problem is I want to see him follow through his progressions. It seems like he kind of gets stuck on one guy and he wants to throw it to that one guy, kind of his first read. He needs to develop and stop that. In college, he only completed 29% of his deep throws last season. He needs to complete a better percentage of those deep throws for him. I mean, if he wants to be something in college, he's gonna need to do something, especially with the Raiders. They like to draft a lot of speed. He does make a lot of mistakes under pressure. It's something he's going to have a lot of pressure when he's playing with the Raiders. You know, I mean, he's going to be able to have to make those good decisions, those good reads, starting through the get, go through his progressions, check it down if he needs to. Looking at the depth chart there, we do have Jimmy Garoppolo obviously as a starting quarterback, but he only may be the quarterback for a couple years, and then it might be a chance for Aiden O'Connell to step in and show that he belongs in the NFL. Josh Jacobs, Amir Abdullah at running back, Devontae Adams, Jacoby Meyer, Hunter Renfrow, Trey Tucker, and the rookie Michael Mayer at tight end. So looking at Aiden O'Connell, he does have the opportunity to succeed here at the Raiders. He just needs to show them that he belongs. He needs to show them that he can beat out Jimmy Garoppolo, which I don't think is a very easy thing to do. As far as being just a pure quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo is pretty good. So other than that, I think Aiden O'Connell, like I said, somebody I probably wouldn't target in NFL drafts or your fantasy drafts unless you have a deeper type of dynasty league. He's definitely not going to be anything this year for a redraft league. So let's go ahead and go over the three people that I have right now in the 4th round that I would say take them, especially if you're in dynasty leagues, and they might turn out to something. The first one was in obviously the 4th round. Pick 115. We're talking about Roschon Johnson. Again, this guy, a lot of people were sleeping on. They always want to talk about Bijan. But if you looked at the other guy in the backfield, Roschon Johnson, he was able to do some really, really good things for that football team. I think he's a good runner. I think he can run in the tackles, run in the outside. He can even catch the football. He can kind of do it all. And I'm excited to see what Roschon Johnson can do in the NFL. Going over to pick 127, we're talking about Jake Haener here. I think the Saints got him a steal at quarterback. They ended up trading ahead of the Rams to grab Jake Haener, and I think it was a good decision. Somebody that I think they can develop into a nice fantasy quarterback as far as he keeps on reading. The reason why he wears number 9 is because he idolized Drew Brees. So if he can even mimic close to what Drew Brees can do, Jake Haener should have a successful season. Grab him on your dynasty leagues, let him sit on your bench, and I think you'll be happy that you did. And the last guy in the 4th round is going to be at pick 128. We're going to talk about Stetson Bennett. I think Bennett's a great fit with the Rams. I think after this year, I think you're going to see Stetson Bennett step in as the starting quarterback. And I think he's gonna do well. I mean, he's an older quarterback. He stayed all the years in college. Coming out here, he's more mature. He's been on the big stage before. He doesn't buckle under pressure. Somebody I'm excited to see what he turns into in the NFL. As always, thank you for watching the video. If you hadn't hit that subscribe button, do me a favor, hit the subscribe button. It's going to really help you out prepare for your league this year. Now that we're pumping out weekly videos week in and week out to help you succeed and ultimately hold up the trophy for your league. I can't wait to see you guys on the next video. We'll see you guys next time.